When we talk about greatness, we often think about the big dramatic moments, the awards, the promotions, the overnight success stories we see on social media. But the truth is, real greatness doesn't come from occasional brilliance. It comes from the quiet, invisible force of showing up day after day. It comes from the small, deliberate actions that over time build into something extraordinary. Consistency is not glamorous. It doesn't make for flashy headlines. Yet, it is the superpower that underlies every achievement worth having. Think about it for a moment. A single workout, a single study session, or a single effort at mastering a skill doesn't change anything overnight. One day of reading doesn't make you wise, and one day of writing doesn't make you a great author. But when these small actions are repeated with intent, something remarkable happens. A pattern forms, skills sharpen, confidence grows. You start to notice subtle changes in how you approach challenges, how you make decisions, and how you interact with the world. This is the essence of consistency. It compounds quietly, often without fanfare, yet with unstoppable momentum. Psychologically, consistency taps into one of the most powerful aspects of human behavior: habit. Our brains are wired to conserve energy. We tend to repeat what is familiar because it feels safe and effortless. By creating routines and rituals, we essentially train our brains to respond automatically. This is why the smallest, consistent action is often more powerful than a sporadic, intense effort. It is the difference between firing a cannon once and firing a cannon every day. One shot may make noise, but repeated shots build real impact. There's also a philosophical dimension here. Life is not a sprint, it is a series of choices that accumulate into destiny. When we honor consistency, we honor the process, not just the outcome. We begin to understand that growth is not always visible in the moment, that the seeds we plant today may take months or even years to bear fruit. And yet, those seeds are fertile. They are alive. They respond to our attention and care. When we nurture them through daily commitment, we create a trajectory that no sudden burst of effort can match. Let me give you a tangible example. Imagine two people trying to learn a language. One studies intensely for 1 week, memorizing hundreds of words, and then stops. The other studies for just 20 minutes a day, every day for a year. The first person may feel powerful at the start, but the knowledge fades quickly. The second person, through consistent effort, builds neural pathways, strengthens memory, and integrates the language into daily life. By the end of the year, the second person is fluent, not because they tried harder at one moment, but because they persisted steadily. That is the power of consistency. It is cumulative, unstoppable, and often invisible until the results emerge. Consistency also transforms our relationship with failure. When you commit to daily effort, failure becomes less terrifying. A misstep is no longer catastrophic, it is just a data point, a moment to learn and adjust. Over time, consistent effort creates resilience. You develop a mindset that says, I will continue even when I fail, because each day I show up, I move forward. This mindset, this quiet courage, is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who are dazzled by flashes of temporary inspiration. And here's something that is often overlooked: consistency is deeply liberating. It removes the chaos of indecision and the weight of I must do it all perfectly at once. When you focus on showing up every day, you create rhythm in your life. You find peace in the routine, freedom in knowing that progress does not have to be monumental to be meaningful. It reminds us that greatness is not a destination, it is a practice, a lifestyle, a commitment to honoring our potential through persistent action. So when you leave here today, think less about the grand gestures and more about the small steps. Think about what you can do consistently, even when motivation falters, even when the world seems indifferent. Because those small, repeated actions, they are the ones that shape your character, sharpen your skills, and eventually transform your life. They are the invisible threads that weave the fabric of achievement, the quiet force that moves mountains without anyone noticing until the peak is reached. And remember this, it is not the dramatic moments that define you, but the devotion to the ordinary repeated faithfully. Consistency is your superpower, your leverage against chaos, and the secret engine of success. If you embrace it fully, the world cannot help but take notice, not because you sought attention, but because your results will speak for themselves. Show up every day. No exceptions. That is how greatness is built. That is how legacies are created. We live in a world obsessed with motivation. Everywhere we look, there are quotes, videos, and posts telling us to feel inspired or wait for the right moment. And yet, if we are honest with ourselves, motivation is fleeting. It is like a spark, bright, exciting, but easily extinguished. It comes and goes with our moods, our circumstances, or even the weather. And if we rely solely on motivation to guide our actions, we will find ourselves starting and stopping, chasing enthusiasm instead of building results. This is why discipline, not motivation, is the true engine of achievement. Discipline is what keeps you moving when you do not feel like it. Discipline is what allows you to continue when excitement has left the room. And discipline, practiced consistently, transforms ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Psychologically, motivation works on emotion. It excites, it energizes, it makes action feel easy temporarily. But our emotions are notoriously unreliable. Some days we wake up feeling inspired, but life has a way of testing us. Meetings run late, fatigue sets in, unexpected challenges arise. On those days, motivation alone cannot carry us forward. Discipline, however, is not dependent on feelings. Discipline is a decision, a commitment to your goals that transcends how you feel in the moment. It is the bridge between knowing what you want and actually achieving it. Without discipline, knowing your dreams becomes meaningless. There is also a philosophical truth in this distinction. Motivation is external, it is something we wait for, something we hope to feel. Discipline is internal, it is something we choose. Waiting for motivation is waiting for the wind to fill your sails. Choosing discipline is building the engine that propels your life forward, regardless of the wind. And it is in that choice that real power lies. Those who master discipline understand that progress is not always thrilling or glamorous. It is patient, steady, and often unseen. But its effects are profound, rippling through every area of life over time. Consider the lives of people who have achieved lasting success. Rarely are they the ones who waited for inspiration. They are the ones who showed up, day after day, regardless of circumstances. They built habits that did not require constant emotional input. They created systems that allowed their work, their growth, and their impact to continue even when the world offered no applause. Discipline is the backbone of consistency. It is the framework upon which every habit, every skill, every achievement is built. Without it, even the most talented individuals falter, because talent alone cannot replace the commitment to keep moving forward. There is also a deep psychological liberation in embracing discipline over motivation. When you rely on motivation, your life feels like a roller coaster. One day you are inspired, full of energy and hope. The next day you feel empty, lost, or uncertain. Discipline removes this dependency on fluctuating emotions. It gives structure and reliability to your life. When you know that you will act, regardless of how you feel, you gain confidence, you gain autonomy. You no longer wait for external forces to push you forward, you become the force that drives your own life. And that is empowering beyond measure. But discipline is not about rigidity or harshness. It is not about punishing yourself for feeling tired or for making mistakes. True discipline is aligned with purpose. It is guided by clarity about what matters most. When you are disciplined, every action you take is intentional. Every small effort is a building block. And over time, these blocks stack to create a structure far stronger than any sudden surge of effort ever could. Discipline is consistency in action, applied with awareness and meaning. It is the conscious choice to honor your goals, your potential, and your vision every single day. This brings us to a profound truth. Motivation may get you started, but discipline keeps you going. Motivation sparks desire, but discipline transforms desire into reality. Discipline allows you to endure setbacks, overcome distractions, and persist when the path is unclear. It teaches you that success is not a matter of feeling good in the moment, but of showing up anyway. And it reminds you that every day you act with discipline, you are investing in a future self who will thank you, a life that will reflect your unwavering commitment, and a legacy that will speak louder than any fleeting emotion ever could. So as you reflect on your own journey, remember this: do not wait for motivation to strike. Do not chase feelings of inspiration as if they are a prerequisite for action. Instead, cultivate discipline. Choose to act even when it is hard, even when you do not feel like it. Let discipline be your compass, your anchor, and your engine. And in doing so, you will discover a power far greater than any burst of motivation, the quiet, enduring strength to shape your life and your future. Discipline is not a limitation, it is liberation. It is not a burden, it is freedom. And it is through discipline practiced consistently that you unlock the real superpower within yourself. That when we speak of consistency, it is easy to focus only on personal growth, results, and discipline. But there is another dimension that is just as powerful, one that extends beyond ourselves and shapes the world around us. Consistency builds trust. Consistency builds reputation. And it is in this arena that the true weight of our actions becomes visible. People notice patterns even when they do not notice single moments. When someone shows up reliably, when someone delivers without fail, their words gain credibility, their promises gain weight, and their influence quietly expands. This is the invisible power of consistency in human relationships, professional life, and in the legacy we leave behind. Consider for a moment the simple act of being reliable. In relationships, whether personal or professional, consistency signals respect, care, and integrity. It tells others that you are someone who can be counted on, someone who honors commitments even when it is inconvenient. And the impact is profound. Trust is the foundation of all meaningful connections, and trust is earned through repeated, reliable action. A single gesture of kindness or a single successful project may impress temporarily, but it is consistency over time that cements belief in you. People begin to invest their confidence, their energy, and even their loyalty in those who show steady dedication. That is a power that is invisible at first, but transformative over a lifetime. Philosophically, consistency is also a statement of character. It is the embodiment of integrity in motion. When we act consistently, we align our actions with our values. We demonstrate that our principles are not abstract ideals, but lived truths. And this alignment matters. Human beings are wired to detect incongruence. We sense when someone's words do not match their actions, when promises are empty, or when commitments are abandoned. Conversely, we notice when someone consistently upholds their word, consistently contributes, consistently seeks improvement. Over time, this alignment builds reputation, not the kind that can be bought or fabricated, but the kind that earns respect naturally, effortlessly, and enduringly. In professional life, the power of consistency is equally striking. Think of the people you admire most in your field. Rarely are they the ones who delivered one spectacular project and disappeared. They are the ones who showed up day after day, month after month, consistently producing, learning, and contributing. Their results accumulate, their influence spreads, and their reputation precedes them. Consistency is what turns competence into mastery and mastery into trust. Colleagues, clients, and peers begin to rely on them not just for skills, but for reliability itself. And that trust is an invaluable currency in any endeavor, more powerful than talent alone, more enduring than luck. Consistency also shapes perception in subtle ways. When we commit to regular effort, we create a narrative of reliability and competence. People begin to associate our names with perseverance, with diligence, and with dependability. This perception, rooted in observable patterns, opens doors that sporadic brilliance cannot. Opportunities often gravitate toward those who can be counted on, because the world, despite its chaos, values predictability and reliability. When you are consistent, you are not only building results, you are building an ecosystem around yourself that supports your growth, your influence, and your impact. Yet the deeper truth is that the reputation consistency builds is not just for external recognition, it is also internal. Every time you follow through on your commitments, every time you act in alignment with your values, you reinforce your own sense of self. You cultivate confidence, credibility, and self-respect. And these internal qualities feed back into your capacity to act consistently in the future. It is a virtuous cycle. Consistent action builds trust, trust strengthens character, character sustains effort, and effort produces meaningful results. Over time, you become a person whose very presence carries weight, not because of titles or accolades, but because of the quiet power of reliability. The philosophical lesson here is profound. Consistency is a dialogue between who you are and how the world perceives you. Every day, in every action, you are writing a story of yourself. This story may be subtle, almost invisible at first, but over time it becomes undeniable. People trust, respect, and rely on those whose stories are coherent, whose actions are repeated faithfully. And the most remarkable thing is that this influence is contagious. Others begin to mirror the reliability they witness, creating communities, teams, and societies that value and reinforce consistency. In this sense, your consistent actions do not just shape your life, they ripple outward, shaping the lives of everyone around you. So as you reflect on what it means to wield the real superpower of consistency, remember this: it is not just about your results or your growth. It is about trust earned, reputations built, and the enduring influence you leave in your wake. By showing up, by honoring your commitments, and by acting with integrity every single day, you become a force that inspires others, elevates communities, and shapes the world in ways far beyond what a single moment of brilliance could ever achieve. Consistency is not only the key to success, it is the measure of character, the builder of trust, and the quiet architect of influence. Show up faithfully, keep your word, act with integrity, and watch as the world responds not to your talent alone, but to your unwavering presence. That is the power that endures. That is the real superpower.